What's up guys, it's James here, and in today's video I want to talk to you about how you can easily make $10,000 a month every single month managing just 10 properties on Airbnb. Now mind you, this is going to be 10 of other people's properties as well. So I'm not talking about going out and buying these properties. I'm not even talking about renting these properties. You can actually do this without investing any money at all up front into buying, renting, furnishing, anything like that. You can get this started with no money out of your own pocket, start managing properties, and within very quick time, you can be managing 10 properties that'll be bringing in $10,000 a month for you on Airbnb. Now, I know this seems crazy, but I want to walk you through exactly how you can do this, and I'm going to talk to you about how I would do this if I were starting again right now. I was starting from complete nothing with no experience. Now, for anyone who's watching this video, you can just be assured as well, there's a free training linked in the description down below. So once you get through this video, if you want to actually learn the more in-depth strategies for how to actually execute on all this, how to go and find these properties, how to go and get them on under management, set them up, manage them properly, then you can check out that free training linked down in the description down below. And that's going to walk you through everything step by step. It's going to give you the tools and strategies that you need to turn this into a $10,000 a month income, and that training is completely free. So make sure you click the link in the description down below and register for that training if that's something that you want to do, if that's a goal of yours, is to build this income stream for real. So let's dive right into it. Let's get started and talk about how you can actually get 10 properties that'll generate $10,000 a month on Airbnb. What this all comes down to is using the management fee model and being super intentional about the specific types of properties that you want to manage. So for anyone that's new here to the channel that hasn't watched any of the other videos, I'm going to give you a really quick Coles Notes version of how the management fee model works for managing other people's properties on Airbnb. Basically, all you're doing is going to a property owner, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and you're saying, hey, property owner, I will manage your property for you on Airbnb and short-term rental platforms. So instead of you managing it yourself, I'll take care of scheduling the cleaners, communicating with the guests, updating the pricing, and I'll do this for you in exchange for a percentage of the overall revenue. Now, generally, the market rate for this type of service is about 20 to 30% of the overall revenue on the property. And the reason that Mr. or Mrs. Smith is going to say yes to that is twofold. Number one is that they don't want to take the time to schedule the cleaners, to do the guest communication, to manage the pricing themselves, manage the listing themselves. They don't want to do that. So by doing this for them, offering this as a service, you are going to be saving them time. That's one big reason. Now, the other big reason they're going to say yes to you is because if you have the right training, the right tools, and the right skills, then you can actually take their listing that might be generating, let's say, $3,000 or $4,000 a month right now, and you can actually improve the performance. You can tweak the nightly rates and optimize them, dial them in, get the listing to perform a little bit better on Airbnb, get a little bit higher occupancy rate. Now suddenly the property is performing better than when they were managing themselves, because let's face it, most of the people that have their properties on short-term rental are not short-term rental experts. They're real estate investing experts maybe, but they're not short-term rental experts. It's not what they've been focusing on doing, so they don't really know how to optimize their pricing, and a lot of these people are leaving a huge amount of money on the table. So if you can walk in and take that listing from $4,000 a month in total bookings to $5,000 a month in total bookings, then suddenly that 20% management fee that you're taking, they're still walking away with the same $4,000 a month, but now they don't have to do anything for it. So it's essentially like they're getting all this stuff done for them for free from their perspective. So that's reason number two, is you can help them to make more money with their listing. Now, I started off this video and we talked about how can you get 10 of these properties that will generate $10,000 a month or more, so that you can really systemize things and streamline it. You can go and find 20 properties to get there, but you can also go and find 10 properties, and in some cases you can even get there with just 5 or 6 properties if you know how to pick the right ones. And so what that comes down to is really just picking the properties that generate the most total revenue. I know that seems really simple, but if you just think about it, if you have a property that's bringing in $5,000 a month, that means that you're going to be bringing in 20% of that, or $1,000 in management fees on that one single property. So one property is $1,000 a month for income for you if that property is able to generate $5,000 a month in total income, right? So you got to ask yourself, would you rather manage one property that's generating $5,000 a month or two properties that are generating $2,500 a month each? All else being equal, the obvious answer is that we'd rather manage one property making $5,000 a month because you make more money off of the one property than with the two, right? So that's the basic principle here. But how do you actually go and do that? That's the obvious part there, is go and manage properties that make more money. But then the question becomes, how do you do that? How do you actually find those winning properties or turn properties that aren't doing that well and turn them into winning properties? And that comes down to two main things. Number one is picking the right property. And when I say picking the right property, I mean knowing what to look for. So generally speaking, in any given area, you're going to be able to get a higher nightly rate, a higher occupancy rate, a higher overall revenue with larger properties as opposed to smaller properties. Now, this isn't universally true. This is a general rule of thumb, is that the larger a property is, the more money it's going to generate on Airbnb. Just thinking about it logically, you now have the ability to flexibly accommodate groups of different sizes. So you have more demand because you can accommodate groups of 1, 2, 3, or 4 people, as opposed to just being able to accommodate 1 or 2. So you've got more potential demand, and you've got a section of demand that has a higher price threshold. They're willing to pay more, because if you get a group of 4 people together, then suddenly $400 a night is really just $100 a night per person. If you can only accommodate 2, then that $400 a night is double that on a per person level. So by maximizing the number of people you can have in an Airbnb, you're generally going to be maximizing the revenue. So that's one thing to look out for. You also want to look out for the location. You want to look for the locations that are the most in demand, and specifically locations that are in the highest demand for those larger groups of travelers. So for example, the business district might be a really popular destination, but it might not be that desirable for larger groups. Whereas cottage country or a more vacation or touristy area might be exceptionally popular and really popular amongst those larger groups. So knowing what types of properties to look for, and then having access to tools like, for example, AirDNA, which I've talked about in other videos. There's some really cool tools out there that if you know how to use them, you can use them to actually just go and literally find the exact properties that are generating high income numbers. And then you can go and cherry pick those properties and go and find those properties to make sure they're going to generate enough money to make it worth your while. In fact, you can use these tools to find properties that are generating $10,000 a month on average, which is why I said initially, you can do this with just 5 properties. Imagine that. You have 5 properties generating $10,000 a month each. That means you're making $2,000 per month on each one of those properties. And now with 5 properties, you've gotten yourself to $10,000 a month in income with just 5 properties. I mean, you can manage all that yourself. You can manage those 5 properties yourself without any team members, without anything, just a cleaning team, some of the right systems, and you can be doing that and earning a really great income just managing 5 properties. So that's number 1, is finding the right properties. Number 2 is optimizing those properties, making sure that they're set up to really maximize their overall performance. Now, this could be things like decorating and adding some amenities. For example, vacation properties, just spending a couple $100, and this isn't even you, this is gonna be the property owner investing a few $100s into some board games, maybe a Netflix account for the year, maybe a little bit nicer TV. Those sorts of things are really going to draw guests into the listing. Now, which amenities and which add-ons are going to make the most sense really depends on which listing you're looking at specifically and who the ideal guest is for that listing. If you really dive in and optimize just a few listings and spend that extra time that you've got to really optimize those listings, you're going to be making way more money as a result. So that's why I said you can also focus on going to those properties that are only making $3,000 or $4,000 a month right now and turn them into $5,000 a month performers, $6,000 a month performers. Really ramp the numbers up so that now suddenly they are making enough money that you're still walking away with a really sizable check every single month for managing that property. Now, the other way that you can do this is through your pricing and listing optimization, actually optimizing things on the back end, dialing in your pricing strategy. Now, all this and more is fully covered in detail in the free training that's linked down below. We're going to walk through how do you actually find these properties, how do you optimize their performance, how do you maximize on them, and then how do you run the business ongoingly in a way where you can be completely removed from the day-to-day operations. So you can have this be a nice passive side income. So I highly recommend that you check out that free training linked in the description down below. It's going to walk you through everything. We're going to give you a few tools, again, completely free, that you can use to build this business. And I'm just seeing opportunity everywhere nowadays. There's just so many properties out there that you can find that are generating $5,000, $10,000 a month on Airbnb, and you'll find them in some of the most obscure, unexpected places ever. I'm talking really small towns with a few thousand people as their population, and you've got listings there that are doing insanely well. So if you know how to find those, the reality is very few other people have that skill set. Very few people right now actually know how to find those winning properties and what to do to find them. So if you can develop that, if you can go and deploy that in your area or the area that you want to focus on, you're likely going to be able to uncover some real hidden opportunities that no one else is looking at, no one else is focusing on, and you can really get a knock out of the park win here. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it has, then give it a like, hit that thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel here, which I know from looking at my back end, I know looking at YouTube, it's telling me that most of you guys are not yet subscribed. The vast majority of you watching this video right now are not subscribed. So let's change that. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all the new videos we post. I post 2 new videos every single week on this channel, and I try to bring you as much value as possible in each one of those videos. So make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with the channel, and I'll see you in the next